All right, take two. Our Wi-Fi was struggling, so we just lost the first video. So I'll just say everything again, which is probably okay because it takes a minute for people to tune in. So when you tune in, if you can just mention where you're from, and if you have any comments or questions about anything, let me know. So today I'm going to talk about the Buddhist notion of no. How to say no so that really it's good for you, good for the world, good for us. A lot of us struggle with the notion of no. For example, yesterday I was in a cafe and this kindly older gentleman who I've known for many years in the Buddhist community was talking to us, and while it was fun to talk to him and it was fine, it kind of just kept going and going, and I needed to work and my friend needed to work, and I kept, we've all had that experience of you're trying to kind of get out of a conversation in a nice way, but it's difficult, so you kind of keep going and you try and be helpful, and every time you say one helpful thing, it turns into 5 more minutes of talking, and before you know it, you're kind of 85% of your mind is like, I don't want to be right here, but I feel bad. And then the older gentleman, finally, like third time I said, okay, I gotta work, thank you, it's great to see you. The older gentleman then tried to talk to my friend Dave, and my friend Dave just looked up, smiled, said, I don't want to be rude, but I gotta work. And looked back down at his work and cut it off. And the older gentleman, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, he's a nice older gentleman, but you have to be grounded, and you have to be, you kind of have to know who you are in a way to say no, and sometimes saying no can be very powerful. So the first thing we would love to put in the comments, or the second thing, would be about the notion of idiot compassion. Often when we're saying yes or maybe to a situation, it's because we feel bad. Over my life, I've seen many friends be kind of pressured into going out on a date with someone, or to hang out with someone that they clearly didn't want to, but they were just pressured to do so. So being able to say no, and being able to teach our children to be able to say no when appropriate is a gift. It's also saying yes to a life of sanity and decency and goodness at the same time. So why should we say no, or the big no, which I'm going to read a little bit from Trungpa Rinpoche here. Trungpa is my parents' Buddhist teacher, and he has a talk that I would love for all of you to read. It's not on Elephant, actually. It's on the Chronicle Project. So I'm not sure which editor is on. Oh, it's Kat. Kat, if you can just Google the big no in quotes, and then Trungpa, you'll find it. It's on Chronicle Project. And I'm actually going to read a couple minutes if people don't mind. I just find it really helpful, because we're all good at sort of saying yes, positivity, unicorns, new agey, love and light, everything's kind of, that's fun. Let's go hula hoop and drink mate, and right? But being able to say no without aggression, but with some clarity, is just as valuable. So here's the symbol. It's going to be, oops. I need to turn my Wi-Fi on. So the symbol is a calligraphy by Trungpa Rinpoche. And basically the story goes that he was surrounded by a bunch of dear friends and students and Buddhist teachers who were all indulging in, how's the Wi-Fi connection? Is it working for everybody? Laura would like me to dress in appropriate attire. If I'm not incorrect, you're a Red Sox fan. I lived in Boston for years, and many of the Red Sox are infamous for having crazy hair, not shaving, having their shirts hang out. So, I appreciate your comment, but let's be consistent. All right, so that's the symbol of the big no. And I don't think I'm showing anything inappropriate. Maybe a little cleavage, but I don't really have much cleavage to speak of. All right, so this is the big no. It's a calligraphy by Trungpa Rinpoche. If you know not, If you know no, this is a little poem, and you have discipline, patience will arise along with exertion. Then the ultimate no is attained, and you can be victorious over the confusion, the neurosis, the depression, the basically just the confusion of the setting sun world, of the kind of degraded world. All right, so I'm going to read a little bit of this big no. Does that work? Okay. You cannot destroy life. You cannot, by any means, for any religious, spiritual, or metaphysical reasons, step on an ant or kill mosquitoes at all. His point is you shouldn't be hurting anyone or anything, even little things. You have to respect everybody. You cannot make a random judgment or prejudgment on that at all. That is the big no. You can't act on your desires alone. You have to contemplate the details of what needs to be removed and what needs to be cultivated. Our topic is decency. Decency here is not in contrast to the indecency of, say, wearing 2 different colored socks or not having your zipper done up. We are talking about decency as something more profound, to be realized and understood. The first part of decency is what is called modesty, where there is an absence of arrogance. The second part of decency is being so kind and so wise, but without laying your trip on others. Decency means never being tired or made haggard by others. You're always, as we talked about the other day, you're always willing to extend your compassion to others. All right, I'm going to button up and say the big yes to our, because, you know, who doesn't love the Red Sox? It's really just not my style. All right. Big no to myself. There's always some enjoyment in dealing with the world, whether you're dealing with people, whether with other sentient beings, or even with inanimate objects. You could be dealing with your garden. It could be your horse, it could be your dog, your cat, or your stove. No matter what you are doing, the sense of decency is being absolutely on the spot, in the present moment, without failing to the level of uncaring, or falling to the level of uncaring or crudeness. Finally, decency is being loyal to others, loyal to the most intimate experiences that you've shared with others. And it's having loyalty to the principle of trying to be good for the world, basically. I would like to encourage that enormously. I'm going to skip a little bit here. The next aspect of decency is being free from trickery, free from the tricks we play on ourselves or on each other to maintain our basic existence. When we're having trouble maintaining our ground, our solid kind of life, or ourselves, we play all kinds of tricks. For example, you invite a potential employee to a dinner so that you can seduce him or her with an offer, saying, "Look, I can offer you this great job and all this money. Please come work for me and help me build up my ego for me. Please do." Trickery brings hope and fear. You're so tempted at the same time. You're so afraid. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. When you're free of self-deception, you can appreciate the phenomenal world, your life. Free from aggression or fear, you can appreciate the sun and the moon, the clouds and the bright sky, or the gray sky, pine trees, rocks, gardens, and green grasses, or the gray grasses of the snow. Buildings that are tumbling down, buildings that are perfectly in great shape. People coming in and out of shops, people with briefcases walking in and out of their lives. The taxi driver's pole providing a meeting point for the driver and the passenger. Flags flying on a metal rod, jingling their grommets against the pole. The world is full of all sorts of things. So the notion here is that the basic details, the basic fabric of our life, it's sort of like when you're cooking or eating a really good meal, you appreciate the little details of the food and the pan and the plate and your conversation. And the little details become more vivid and more appreciated the more present you are. And we can be present by being able to say the big no, in addition to yes, 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 yes. So yes is not the only tool we need here. All right. La la la. Why am I saying all this? Because we have to realize that we live in a society. We have society and we are society. Every one of you is part of society. Maybe some of you don't work in the way that I just described. Maybe you have enough money to spend a lot of time skiing, swimming, diving, or motor scooting. There are all kinds of possible lifestyles, but as far as the majority is concerned, the system of livelihood is based on going to work, having a regular job. Sometimes we have a tendency to ignore the problems in the world. Well, that's their problem. I'm going to skip forward again. Yeah, it's mindfulness, but the big no goes beyond mindfulness. All right, here we go. That no is that you don't give in to things that indulge your reality. There is no special reality beyond reality. That is the big no as opposed to the regular no. So many of us are looking for a higher state of being, or we want to be perfectly confident like that movie Limitless. But instead, the way to be perfectly confident without arrogance is to relax and to connect with our basic nature and to be fully present and to be mindful of every detail and helpful for others. Our intention is we wake up in the morning vowing to be of benefit to others. Then true joy can arise. All right. That is the big no as opposed to the regular no. You cannot destroy life. You cannot by any means, for any religious, spiritual, or metaphysical means, step on an ant or kill mosquitoes at all. That is Buddhism. That is Shambhala. You have to respect everybody. You cannot make a random judgment on that at all. You can't act on your desires alone. You have to contemplate the details of what needs to be removed and what needs to be cultivated. On the whole, gentleness is the rule in the Shambhala or Buddhist vision. But you don't need to be Buddhist to connect with this stuff. It is actually much more terrifying than kindness, to your surprise. When you are gentle, there's no room for hostility. We like being hostile. We want to be perked up and energized by our negativity, which could remind us of particular sort of the political sphere. I'm not even going to talk about Trump or Hillary, but all of us who are fans of them or not fans of them, so many people, particularly online, want to be engaged by that negativity. It's almost a game. It's fun. We want to be perked up and energized by our negativity. But in Shambhala, we would never do that. We never do that, and we shouldn't do that. There is festivity and joyousness because we are not totally in the dungeon of our neurosis. We haven't bought into it. That cheerfulness is what we call the great eastern sun, continually arising from our own basic goodness. Eastern because it's arising. The sun is no longer the early morning sun, and it is no longer a teenage sun. It is a sun that arises at 10 o'clock in the morning, kind of full. Well, here he says it. The sun is about to be full, but it's not quite full. You may hear what I'm saying and think that it's true, but you have to practice it. You have to do it, sweethearts. You can't just issue messages of philosophy all over the world. We are capable of actually sending us up a satellite. La 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 la. What good would that do? We have to get ourselves together. Please regard yourself as part of this vision of trying to be of benefit and sane and mindful. People say another day, another dollar, but from the Buddhist point of view, we say another breath, another life. We should be proud and very pleased that we can hear these teachings because we have not dropped dead yet! ! Beyond that, I hope you will have a good time, enjoy your life, and appreciate the information you've received. There's a little bit more that is great. We should do things in a humble manner and in a glorious manner, and both of them come together. There's no conflict between the two at all. We need to develop a humble manner, meaning a sense of decorum, maybe like brushing my hair, without arrogance. But when we invite friends into our home, we shouldn't be shy of showing our guests the silver. So you can have a little bit of brilliance going on. All right, I think that's about it. That's a talk by Trungpa Rinpoche, my parents' Buddhist teacher, on the big no. So many of us feel a sort of shyness, a sort of cowardice about saying no. And at its worst, that can lead to things like date rape, right? I have friends again and again, and I'm not saying they went through date rape, but too many of our friends do, where they don't. You can see them at a bar, you can see them in a social situation not being comfortable saying no. and you can intervene or not, but at some point, and we should, obviously, if we see it, say it. But at some point, we ourselves have to ground and say, no, I am not interested in talking to you. I am with my friends, whatever. So that got a little heavy, but this is heavy stuff. Being able to say no can create a lot of peace and save a lot of suffering in this world. So if any of you have questions, just let me know, or comments, and I'll go through them, and then we'll wrap it up. We have nearly 300 people on at every second, which is pretty amazing. And yesterday, I think we had something like 27,000 people tuned in 1 hour, and then it keeps going. I think it's 27. Michelle from Collingwood, Ontario. Stacy Caruthers from Vancouver. Anna, Lisa, loves Elephant. Thank you for enriching my life. Thank you for thanking. And if you feel like helping Elephant for free, elephantjournal.com/best or /newsletter. That's to get our online magazine, which you can either get daily or weekly. Weekly, I write an editor's letter. Daily is daily and beautiful and simple. So hopefully the editor, Kat, if you don't mind putting the newsletter link in there. Sarah thinks I'm handsome. You should get together with my Boston Red Sox fan down there who is sick of my bullshit. But thank you, Sarah. Lisa, great advice here about the big no. It's important to talk about it. Idiot Compassion, you can see it in the links. It's a wonderful read. Basically, that it is not kind to others always to say yes. It is not kind to be someone's doormat if it may not be good for them to walk all over you, to allow that to happen. It may not be good for you. Sometimes we do want to be of service, and we're happy to help. And hopefully most of the time we are. But Idiot Compassion is about what is true compassion. What is true compassion versus just kind of going along with something. Taylor, I'm not sure the full question, but something about hating yourself sometimes. So Maitri is one of my favorite blogs, practicing loving kindness for oneself. We have this weird tendency when we're kind of caught up in ego, and all of us are that way. This is not a judgment on you, to both be full of self-concern, self-obsession, egotistical, but at the same time not kind or loving to ourselves. So to truly love yourself is not egotistical. It's a beautiful, basic human thing, and that love comes from the inside out, and others will feel that love. That's a quote maybe for Lindsay Cat. Aaron, it's important to be kind to yourself in order to spread kindness. I love that. From Aaron Toberman. Thank you. Ellie Schutt loves it. Laura, could you please dress in appropriate attire? I have no desire to watch you keep closing your bare chest with sweater and comb your hair. Jeez. Thank you. Thank you for your your constructive criticism. Ellie, I don't get to be positive if I am not able to say, I don't get to be positive if I am not able to say no to situations or people that I need to say no to. Yeah, and we can't also use that as an excuse to shut people out or not to engage in challenge. It's still important to deal with things that are difficult. All right, the Wi-Fi is working in Galveston, Texas. Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, Wendy. Yeah, so we were having some Wi-Fi problems. Thank you. Yeah, there's lots of debate now about my outfit. Oh, America. It's kinder to say no than to leave people wondering, from Aaron. Aaron's on a roll. Mindy, we sell our hats at elephantjournal.com/hats, I believe. elephantjournal.com/shop at the least. One of those two. Maybe, Kat, you could put it in the comments. Ellie Schutt. Most people associate modesty with the way someone dresses, so it's nice to hear it in regards to decency. Yeah, I mean, you know, what's her name up here who's criticizing me is correct. Like Trunk Primshay would say, you don't have to be rich to comb your hair, to take care of your, how you comport yourself in public. I guess I'm under the illusion that I'm on my couch in my home, which I am. So I'll step it up. Anzur, that's basically mindfulness. Yeah, I was talking about the sort of the details, appreciating the details of every life. Aaron, you teach people how to treat you and what they should expect from you. Saying no when it's appropriate helps establish healthy boundaries and expectations. Amen. I think also the big no from that Trungpa Rinpoche was about was when we allow ourselves to indulge selfishly and kind of just chase after pleasure in a kind of degraded way. That is not only selfish, but it doesn't make ourselves happy, and it's not good for the world. So there's a larger vision that it's not just about us and our boundaries, but it's about fundamentally we want to be here to be kind, and through kindness we can love ourselves and be joyful. Not love ourselves in a martyrdom kind of way. As Eleanor Roosevelt talks about this, Kat, you could put the blog in the comments, please, that she discovered joy through being kind. And from that point on, that's all she kind of wanted to do. Jennifer, how did I get so wise? Well, if you know me, you know I'm not wise, but I did have a ton of training in Buddhism. So I just practiced a ton of meditation and studied and really enjoyed it and had great mentors and teachers. Basically, I was like your typical nuts, kind of wild, nuts, unhappy, insecure, arrogant, mostly insecure kid. And when I finally connected with Buddhism, which was hard because it seemed so boring, but once I finally did, from a little sense of genuine heart of sadness that Pema talks about, or Trungpa Rinpoche talks about, that the genuine heart of sadness is our basically goodness, basic goodness kind of beginning to arise, like a little flower in the spring, like coming out of the snow. When I finally connected with that stuff, it really helped me to be present and to have compassion for myself and to be able to be present with others. So please, if you haven't read it, or even if you have, read that blog on Maitri. It's really helpful stuff. And if you're interested, Kat, you could put a link to, I think it's by Meret Mueller, an article about meditation, Daten. So there's these meditation retreats in Shambhala centers, Carmen Scholing in Vermont, Shambhala Mountain Center in Colorado, and other locations around. And there's all kinds of other meditation retreats and other traditions. But if you want to get more involved, there's local Shambhala centers. You can go for a Monday night free meditation. And again, I don't care at all if you connect with Shambhala or Buddhism or any religion. That's up to you. That's none of my business, but I'm just sharing what's been helpful for me is meditation. And you can do meditation if you're a rabbi or if you're a, priest, or if you can do it from any. Meditation is agnostic, right? You don't have to believe in anything other than hopefully kindness. Derek, this is why I started blocking a few people lately, got sick of doing things other people's way. That reminds me, Derek, of I have a blog about, it's not a great blog, but it's a helpful notion to explore of, I think it's from Kat, it's 7 reasons to unfriend someone on Facebook. Sometimes it's good to be important. I mean, it's good to be accessible or open to those we disagree with. One of my best Facebook friends is a libertarian who's incredibly thoughtful and reads a ton and shares all these links, and he argues with everything I say. Everything I say is wrong. But we have a basic sense of humor and respect. And there was one time when he kind of stepped over the line, in my view, and I messaged him about it. And so even then you can have some boundaries of basic respect. We need to be agreeable when we disagree. We need to be respectful in our criticism. So Kat, if you could search for Daten or meditation retreat and Shambhala and put that in the comments. Daten is D-A-T-H-U-N. Jennifer works very hard at staying present, mindful, and decent to herself and others. That is beautiful and wonderful. Lots of comments. Lacey Wayland, your last name is like my first name. If I married you, and respect if you're married, but if I married you and took your name because I was a huge feminist, My name would be Waylon. Wayland. Can you imagine how different our world, country, and our lives would be if everyone woke up every morning with these things on our minds, saying, I'm here today to make somebody else's day better? Well, yeah, we can all do that. And it doesn't just make the world better, it makes our lives better. I wake up and I meditate. I vow to try and be of benefit, to try and be genuinely helpful to the world. And it orients my attitude so that when I do get criticism, like about my outfit on a big video, instead of the initial reaction, which is defensiveness, I can try and take it in and listen. And it's important to listen to criticism. It helps us open up, relax, and grow up. And that doesn't mean necessarily the criticism is right. But if it is wrong, then we should feel very relaxed about listening to it. And if it is right, we'll benefit from it. Rebecca D'Onofrio, hey, the four karmas are Buddhist. Yeah, so we have a blog on the four karmas. Kat, can you search for the four karmas? I think the title is Buddhism Kicks Ass, because the last of the four karmas is very ass-kicking. So can you search for the four no's? Or, I need more coffee. The four karmas, we're talking about the big no. All right, Rebecca. The four karmas are Buddhist skillful means for manifesting different aspects of compassion, pacifying, enriching, magnetizing, and destroying or cutting, also known as the big no. David Nichtern, a student of Rinpoche's, teaches on this a lot. Yeah, I've known David. David has known me since I'm a baby. I have some video interviews with David Nichtern, probably on our website. David Nichtern! He's definitely written for Elephant. Margaret is about assertiveness. Well, it is, but it's not about having the guts to be kind of aggressive to say no. It's also just being grounded and gentle and saying, hey, like my friend looked up, made eye contact, smiled, said, I don't want to be rude, but I need to work. And he went back to work. All right. Practice it, sweethearts. Yeah, I love that. All right. Gentleness from Aaron, like grace. Grace, exactly. Gentleness, like grace, requires constant practice and intention. It can easily seem judgmental and even patronizing. Tone and tenor are very important to your gentleness and kindness. Yeah, but it's not a technique exactly. It's just got to arise naturally. So the tone and tenor should naturally reflect your inner gentleness and kindness. If we're trying to sound gentle or kind, that very quickly could sound patronizing. But I think we're on the same page. Don Hudson, very cool. Love this. Awesome, Don. Thank you. No is not a dirty word. I love that, Jen. I love that. Love it. Yeah, I just got this sweater. I'm super in love with it. Ash said she loves the sweater from in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I was visiting my mama. Leslie, no equals freedom. It can. Deborah says no to everything. Not good. Right. So if we get too caught up in yes or too caught up in no, both extremes are not helpful. The Buddha himself talked a lot about the middle way. The middle way between two extremes. Reminds me of politics. That there's something powerful and gentle and kind about not being too tight or not being too loose, right? So the Buddha was hanging out with this musician on a boat, I think is the story. And the musician said, how do I relate to my mind in meditation? And the Buddha said, how do you tune your guitar? And the musician said, well, not too tight and not too loose. Then it'll sound great. And the Buddha said, just as you tune your guitar, work with your mind in that way. Be gentle, but don't be too anything goes, school without walls. And Zur, first time watching, not even sure how I ended up on your page. Well, condolences to you, but you're here now, so make the best of it. But if you do want to connect, our best stuff is on our newsletter, elephantjournal.com/best. Akam, good talk. Thank you, sir. Good to see you again. Aaron, we are promoting kindness locally through the Galveston Kindness Project. I don't know what C2BK is, but that looks interesting. Tell us what that is. All right. Taylor Lynn, thank you. It's my birthday today, and your chat is a gift. Hey, Kat, we have a blog on how to celebrate your birthday mindfully. Do you mind putting how to celebrate your birthday in the Buddhist tradition. It's very human. It's not too Buddhisty, but check it out. I love it. And everyone should wish Taylor a cheerful birthday. We wish you a cheerful birthday, a joyful and cheerful birthday. To our dear Taylor, may you have a long, long life. May you have a long, long life. No likes on that. I'm definitely not singing again. All right. Taylor, cheerful birthday. May your next year be full of genuine joy and benefit to yourself and others. Rebecca, I started to say no finally and my life changed. I really love myself now. Aw. Rebecca, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. Everyone should read that. I started to say no. Big no, finally, and my life changed. I really love myself now. Jackie, saying no is one of the biggest issues because I always want to jump in and support others. Yeah, so read Idiot Compassion, because jumping in and supporting others, sometimes you can do that effectively by saying the big no. If it's all yes, 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 you can be taken advantage of. People don't appreciate it, and they don't even really benefit themselves. Nicole, thank you for your wise words. I wish more people thought like this. Yeah, it's definitely not any compliment from me. Or to me, it's just I was lucky enough to have a mom who was very kind and encouraged me to learn this stuff. And I did. I got into it. Lots. No. Saying no might help you love yourself in some ways. You got to take care of yourself. How can I learn to love myself? So read that blog about My Tree. Basically, it's a difficult path. It's actually something we have to work at. So it's a great question. Just that you're asking that question means that you're kind of curious and open, and that will lead you to connect. So Suzuki Roshi says, it is wisdom which is seeking wisdom. So just by asking or seeking how to love yourself, that means you're already beginning to love yourself. Loving yourself isn't some big sort of selfish, like you're not spooning with yourself, right? It's simply just being kind, sympathetic, empathetic for your own experience, for your own heart, being your own best friend, so that you can go out to an event by yourself and actually be comfortable and grounded just being by yourself. That is okay. It also means that you can be with others and be yourself and not just kind of be wishy-washy and give in to whatever they want to do. The main way you do it is not philosophical. It's actually just meditating, practicing being present. And I'll do a brief meditation at the end. Ash Renee, can you say no in polite tones as an example? Well, interestingly, it doesn't have to be polite. The big no is just, it's kind of like a samurai sword. It's kind of like a little butter knife through butter. It's just precise and grounded. So you can actually say, no! But it's, which was not a polite no. But it doesn't need to have a lot of extra. It doesn't need to have aggression. It doesn't need to have fear. It can just be simple and powerful. So it can be like, no. Or, no thank you, I need to, la la la. Or it can be, thank you very much, like my friend did, thank you very much, eye contact, but I need to focus right now. And then focus. So it's just that it has confidence, but it has confidence without arrogance or without aggression in it. Blanca Rogers, thank you for your inspiration. I don't know how to say no to my kids. Yeah, that can be very difficult, but in a funny way, if you love your children, which I know you do, as you know, sometimes children will do things or want to do things that aren't good for them. So when that comes up, out of that love, you can say no. And of course it arises, what if I do? Well, like, what if? What are the consequences? But this isn't all a reward system. You can just lay down no and keep it very simple. And if they do it anyway in some sort of disciplined situation, then, you probably know best. I can't tell you how to parent, but I'm sure other parents here can share their experience. I grew up babysitting and in childcare, running childcare and sun camps or children's camps my whole life, and no was difficult for me to learn. I could get the kids riled up, and we could have fun, and I could exhaust them, and all the kids loved me. But it was harder for me to learn to say no. And when I did, it was more about me just leaning into the confidence, leaning into the insecurity of my ability to say no. And interestingly, the more I did it, the easier it was. And I didn't have to have threats on the back end of it. I just said it, and they would listen, and they would calm. Anzur, my closer, fine. Thank you. Stephanie. Maria. Okay, lots of comments. The book I was reading from. So I think Kat probably put that in the comments, but it's from, if you search The Big No, Trungpa Rinpoche, Trungpa, Trungpa. It's on a site called Chronicle Project, which is run by a gentleman named Walter Fordham, who I don't know, what's one word for how I feel about him? I adore him. I appreciate him. Mick Verbruggen. Problem that I have, used to say always yes, and after a while I realized I needed to say no for my own health. Now the problem is that I rather say no than yes because I need time for my own. I think that I have become selfish, too selfish. Yeah, I mean, you know best. It's less about how many no's and how many yeses and what you're saying no and yes to. If you're saying no to indecency and indulgence and neurosis, that might be helpful. If you're saying no, however, to being brave and going out with some friends or going on an adventure that might get you out of your cloistered little cocoon, that it might be good to say yes to that. So it's more about what you're saying no and yes to, and you know that best. But don't guilt trip yourself. If you need to say no, that is fine. If you need to take care of yourself, if you need time for your own, that is part of Maitri. You can Netflix and chill with yourself. Thank you, Carolyn, for the advice on my sweater and my home and all that. I appreciate everybody. Lisa, yeah, if you'd like to write for Elephant Journal, that's easy. You may or may not get accepted, but hopefully you'll get accepted. And if you don't get accepted the first time, just try again or edit it. elephantjournal.com/submit. elephantjournal.com/submit. The right button is on every page of the site. Oh, there's a There is a link to the 8 hours of meditation for 7 days straight. One gal's reflection on week 1 of Reggie Ray's Datan. Plus specifics that every first-time Dataner should know. So it's about a meditation retreat and what that is like. Meditation should be taught in elementary schools. Well, thank you partially to Congressman Tim Ryan. Kat, I have an interview with him actually in my living room, and I did bother to put on a shirt. Congressman Tim Ryan, Waylon, we talk about meditation in schools. It's a wonderful thing. That said, children in meditation, it can be tough. They have a lot of energy. Sometimes it's more helpful for them to engage in things like dance or movement or like at Shambhala Sun Camp. We do very little meditation with the children. We do a lot of sort of meditation in action activities. So, Kat, if you could put Sun Camp, my discussion of Sun Camp, Shambhala Sun Camp in the comments. SJ, hey from Belfast, UK, so inspirational. Hey, thank you, and hey back. Louise agrees, saying no, emotional intelligence, meditation, and mindfulness should be taught to children. Yeah, people are asking about the hat, elephantjournal.com/hats. If you're curious, and we donate to plant a tree or to, now we're helping, the Mustang wild horses in the U.S. are having a hard time getting culled and that sort of thing. So we're donating advertising to the Great Escape Mustang Sanctuary. You love my comments and listening to criticism. Yeah, criticism is something we all go through. I certainly go through tons of it because, you know, you look at me and you just want to criticize me. Who can blame you? Ellie Schutt reminds me of several statements in my book on things I would like to do with you. This concept is mentioned several times, like, I bicycle away from you. I have made friends with myself. Ellie, thank you for reading my book. I did write a book. It's about mindfulness and about love and about what kind of commitment can include room for loneliness and change and independence and humor and creativity, and can have room for the relationship to change over the years. So it's a book that, and it's also eco-printed in the US. It's a book that I tried to make helpful and fun and worthwhile to read. And it's called Things I'd Like to Do With You. And maybe Kat could put that in the comments if you're curious to check it out. Carolyn well said, you just covered the whole video. Saying no makes space in your life you need, but say yes to new opportunities. But not just out of a FOMO, fear of missing out. You're not just saying yes to anything that you haven't done. You're saying yes to things that are helpful for the world and for yourself, and you're saying no to things that aren't, basically. D, good afternoon from Atlanta. Jacob, thanks for the compliment on the hat. Yeah, you can get, we have 3 different hats now. These ones sold out. It was featured on Bernie Sanders' Facebook page and NBC and stuff. Anyway, but the other hats are new and I love them. Biggest thing you can give your children is the ability to say no without explanation. A gift for life. Terry, amen. Cool to be kind. Did not know. So, unless I'm incorrect here, why would you abbreviate cool to be kind? C2BK, because both are 4 syllables. Cool to be kind. Why are we in such a rush that we can't say cool to be kind? It's cool to be kind. I understand probably you're texting and you only want to text 4 different things. I get it. I'm very slow texting, so I get it. All right. Jacob, can you have a free one? There is no such thing as a free hat, but you can buy one. You can see I just practiced saying no. Happy birthday, Taylor. Lots of birthday wishes for Taylor. People should come on here when it's their birthday more often. Dana, I love these live videos. How often do I do them? I do them 5 times a week, which is crazy. But our YouTube channel has actually way better videos, way shorter videos, more succinct, some beautifully edited videos. youtube.com/Elephant Journal. If Kat, you could put the subscription link in the comments, that would be great. Sharon, I don't seem to be able to say no. Well, you could practice kind of whenever something unhealthy or unhelpful in your life comes up, just saying no to it. Just kind of go like that. Little hand gesture. That might help. How can you learn to say no? Saying no, meditation is a good, helpful thing for that. Just making sure I'm not scaring anyone out there with the cleavage. Sharon, how can you learn to say no? So yeah, meditation is a great way to say no to your discursiveness, and you can kind of come back to the present moment again and again, and we'll practice that. Jacob, it's just a sweater, actually. It's from Halifax. I think it was actually made in Scotland. But the key characteristics of a good sweater are a huge collar. So in the winter, you can put it kind of over the bottoms of your ears, and then you have a hat that goes over the top. And good buttons, obviously. Long arms that you can hide in. When you wear through it, you got to have the shoulder pads. And then awesome pockets. These have huge pockets. So that's the what you need for a good sweater. Oh, also just natural wool, hopefully from a mindful source. So Kat, you could put the wool is cruel link in the comments. A lot of wool comes from mulesing, which is pretty inhumane. It's pretty horrible. Kathleen, you get Comment of the Day award. I learned to say no through a workshop at a cuddle party. It opened my world, changed my life. I don't think you can just say that. You have to explain more how you learned to say no at a cuddle party and how it opened your world and changed your life. Oh, how funny. David Nickturn is my teacher. I'll check out Elephant's article on the four karmas. Yeah, it's titled Buddhism Kicks Ass. And I teach meditation at the Boston Shambhala Center. It's a great place. Come visit. I actually kind of helped, I mean, you could say found, but that would be overstating the case. But I lived in Boston for many years, and I helped us move to that Shambhala Center, and I was the Rusung there for a couple years. I spent tons of time in there, and it's right near Brookline, right? Right near, I lived in Mission Hill, so it was kind of between Mission Hill and Brookline. So I hung out there all the time, and right in Brookline, I went to Matt Murphy's all the time. I think it's probably still there, and there was some Mexican place with the best burritos and hot sauce and all that stuff ever. So yeah, I know the Boston Shambhala Center. Just invite me over and I'll do a little reading of my, mindful relationships kind of thing from my book. If you want. No pressure. Rebecca, thank you for tuning in. Leslie, I watch these daily. Aw, thank you, Leslie. Such a delicious breakfast. Leaves me full and satiated. Great on and Zerg. No is usually followed by guilt. Best comment yet. I love that. So that's partly why we don't say no, right? Because we don't want to feel the pain of that guilt. Well, guilt, Trungpa Rinpoche has a great, Trungpa is the Buddhist teacher, has a great quote about guilt. He says, feel regret, feel guilt, feel that sadness for 3 seconds, then let go. So it's good to touch in with that guilt, but then let go. If you're saying no to something, and you need to say no to something, just do it. So we'll practice that with meditation. But if you're feeling guilt because you're not helping someone, you could help them, maybe you could help them. But if it's not helpful to, in that moment for them, and then there's just really nothing wrong with saying no, right? Sharon, I always feel guilty saying the no word. I feel like saying yes gives a kind of feeling of acceptance, how to overcome it. Yes is a wonderful word. There's nothing better about either. Both are great. It depends what the situation is. No is also an answer from Jenna. If you can't say no, say, let me think about it and I'll let you know. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I think you can also just be clear. No is a complete sentence. Lisa, setting boundaries with children ahead of time sometimes eliminates the need of the word no. Great tip. Derek. Derek just watched the whole video, maybe. I'm not sure what the confusion is. I don't think anyone here is being rude, maybe. Monica has no problem saying no. She's an introvert. However, no has kept me from making some network ties. Yeah, so then you may need to practice saying yes to some of those experiences. So there's the notion of cocoon. Kat, can you put cocoon in the comments? Read about cocoon from a Buddhist notion. It's kind of what a lot of us call introversion. It's when we just kind of hole up in our little safe, cozy world. But then it gets a little stale and smelly in that safe, cozy world, and we stop living life. We stop experiencing new things. We stop being brave because it's easier and it's more comfortable to just say no and to, get beneath all your blankets and Netflix and chill. And then we're at the point where we no longer have any movies we can watch, so we're watching like bad movies for the second time. At that point, you need to start saying yes, right? Michelle, I'm an art specialist and I will be using the Headspace app with my students as a means to clean the slate before starting our art work together. Cool, yeah, I've never practiced Headspace, but I practice meditation as taught by Trungpa Rinpoche and the Sakyong and the Buddha, and we'll practice that shamatha meditation. There are many different kinds of meditation, not all of which are pointed to our basic goodness or to relaxing. Some of them are pointed toward becoming better people or higher states of being. That is not considered to be healthy from a Buddhist point of view. But I don't know which, or maybe Headspace offers all of it. Who knows? So meditation by a different name may not be meditation. I mean, by the same name, different kind of meditation may not be what we're talking about. Meditation needs to be pointed toward being present, toward being ourselves, toward being genuine, not just toward trying to be a better person. Anyway, tons of comments. I'm probably going to skip ahead a little bit because I need some water and I'm very thirsty. Yeah, hashtags are fine. I'm down. I just think they can be silly sometimes. Okay, there's tons of comments. I'm just looking for some questions or discussions. Ashley, I have an immensely hard time saying no. If the question task is in my ability, I say yes every time. Unfortunately, if I say yes, I'll say yes even if it puts me in a bind or an awkward position. I feel selfish withholding and saying no. I mean, honestly, I admire you a great deal, Ashley. Conventional wisdom would say you need to take care of yourself first, and that is true. So you need to read Maitri, really explore, read that blog called Maitri, really explore, are you taking care of yourself? But if you feel like your path is to be of service, there is some notion that, yeah, if you can help, help. In this world, so many people are just thinking about themselves and not helping. It's what I call gated community spirituality. So I think that's really beautiful, and frankly, you deserve some appreciation and love for that kindness. But there's nothing positive or there's nothing healthy about being a martyr. So don't be a martyr. You got to take care of yourself as well. And sometimes if we give, we find ourselves filled. Compassion just renews itself. Love just renews itself. So if you're giving without ego, if you're just giving to be a benefit, you may find that you have more energy to give more. Okay. Rebecca, you mentioned your mom as a positive influence. Was there a time when she said no to you that had a profound impact on you? I mean, as most people who have great moms or dads will know, I was probably told no frequently, like probably every other day. I was a wild and crazy kid, and I was also a sweet, good kid, but until I was 15 at least, and then I just wanted to have a good time. But yeah, my mom said no to me all the time. She definitely practiced saying no to me regularly, and it was helpful. It was just helpful to know what was good and what was selfish. And it wasn't good versus bad. I think that's an interesting distinction. It wasn't a moralistic no. It was, are you being kind? Are you being helpful? Then yes. Are you being selfish? Are you causing other people suffering or yourself suffering? Then no. It's very straightforward. She was so loving and really pushed me to just kind of be a sweet, kind person and to expect the best from myself. And I think that was a gift. She taught me in a weird way that I was intelligent, and then she tricked me into thinking I was intelligent, and then I thought I was intelligent, and then I expected myself to be intelligent, and I tried to learn, and I tried to study. And I mean, that was more in the school field, but that really helped me as well. Anyway, great moms are the best. Cody, I totally appreciate it, and I also at the same time have no idea what you're talking about. It's not in response to anything that I know of, but I'm a vegan. I agree with you. Cody says, hides and furs can be synthetically made. Well, number one, synthetics often come from petroleum or vinyl. No on vinyl, and that's final. Vinyl is toxic to life. And petroleum or plastic is toxic to life, directly related with climate change. Climate change affects millions and millions of animals. So if you're a vegan, you also have to be an environmentalist. So recommending synthetics, I reject that. I say going to secondhand is far better than that. Or finding, natural fibers like cotton, organic cotton, hopefully, because cotton takes tons of pesticides. Anyway, Cody is a passionate animal rights activist and asks us to think about it. And I agree with that. And I think that's beautiful. And I appreciate your comment. Caprice, it is a blessing for sheep, but read that wool is cruel article. There's a thing called mulesing, and it's cruel. It's horrible. They basically cut off their butts without anesthetic and then let them walk around. bleeding. It's not good. So, wool is cruel. Read it. It's on Elephant Journal. Read it if you like. If you don't, that's up to you. I can't control what you read. Yes, and that is great to use meditation to ease your anxiety. That is beautiful. All right, tons of comments, tons of comments, tons of comments. Nikki, I'm always giving, but then they act as if they hate me. I assume you mean your children. When you say no, hurts a lot, but I'm trying to stand my ground. Don't try to stand your ground, just stand your ground. Big no. Practice doing that. Practice gently but firmly banging on a wood coffee table. No. 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 Just practice that. You don't have to be like, no! This isn't 300, right? You don't have to be hairy-chested and burly and scream at your enemy. Your children are not your enemy, but just being clear. No. And you don't need to bang any table around them. I'm just saying for yourself, if you're lacking that confidence, it's almost like a drama class. Or you can practice clapping. No. No. Just give yourself a little oomph, a little drum. Okay, that was dorky advice, but I think it could be helpful. Don't practice trying to stand your ground. Practice standing your ground. And then your children will respect that boundary, and there will be less fighting and less hating. Instead of, if they feel like they make enough noise and push you and complain enough, then they can get the ice cream or whatever it is. Then it's going to be hell, right? Children are conniving little, right? So they're going to get what they can get if they can get it. If they know there's blood in the water, they're going to, they're going to go for it until they get that donut or that cake or whatever it is. They don't have to go to bed, whatever they want. So, but if they know there's no option, no. Well, that's that. And then they'll let go. They'll probably not let go easily the first, 10 times, but after that, it'll get easier. So, jolly good luck. Chris, beautiful comment. Chris Whittington Clark Brown says, experiencing the guilt of an initial no is better than experiencing the guilt when you can't follow through. So many comments. This is really inspiring. How do you get rid of resentments toward others and yourself? Well, that's a big question, but sorry, there's this wasp flying around trying to get outside. So what are you resentful about? I think maybe just say more. That's a pretty general, huge topic. But there's there's my mom's articles. Kat put a link to my mom's articles. Thank you. Well, and natural fibers are kind of easy to find, like cotton or silk or wool. In terms of wool, ideally, you're getting secondhand, but wool is amazing for the winter, all that kind of stuff. All right, I think we should wrap up. Let's wrap up with some meditation. There's tons of comments. I don't seem to be able to get to all of them. But yeah, saying no to yourself is powerful too. That completely applies, Gail. Often saying no to what you want or your habitual pattern thinks it wants is very helpful. Like a lot of us overeat, and a lot of our hunger isn't related to being hungry, it's related to being dehydrated. So instead of overeating next time, drink some water. You feel better. So that kind of saying no to your own habitual patterns can be very simple. And again, no. All right, let's meditate. If you've liked this video, please give it a like or a share. Part of our mission is to reach beyond the choir to those who don't yet know they give a care about the mindful life or who aren't yet thinking about this. So please like it or share it. That's super helpful. Please get our newsletter. And if you want to stick around for 2 minutes, I'm going to do a little meditation instruction. So just take a good posture. Kind of rotate your sit bones. You can kind of stretch a little bit if it helps. if you've been not moving like myself for an hour. So take a great posture. Your eyes can be open. Often we can tend towards sleepiness with our eyes closed. Take a deep breath in and out. And if you have any final comments, I'll try and get to a couple more after 2 minutes of meditation. But right now, let's just meditate. So hands open, relaxed on your thighs, eyes open, gaze is slightly down, unfocused. Breathe in and out. Just connect with your breath, maybe for the first time today. This is not yet meditation. All you're doing is sitting with a good posture, relax, and then breathe in and out. Just your normal breath. Maybe one deep breath and then normal breath in and out. You can be a connoisseur of a good breath. Really enjoy the breath in and out. Okay, now let's meditate. So now, breathe in, breathe out. When you find yourself thinking, not if, when you find yourself thinking about lunch, about breakfast, about an argument, song in your head, work you have to do, stress, confusion, distracting sound, anything, good or bad, happy or sad, label it thinking. It's a little moment of the big no. You just say, or the big yes. You can say, thinking, return your attention to your breath. So silently, I want some cookies and lemonade and milk or whatever. Thinking, return your attention to your breath. I'm nervous about X, seeing this person, seeing this girl, seeing this boy, seeing this colleague, having this work meeting. Thinking, return to the breath. If you practice that for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, you bow before and after and say, may it be of benefit. May I be of benefit to the world. That'll orient your mind and your life so that it's not all about you, so that you're about others. And at that point, you start enjoying your life more, ironically, because when we're not self-obsessed, we can have a good time. Self-obsession, ironically, doesn't really work. Alrighty, so I hope that was helpful. If it was, give it a like, give it a share. And if please, I beg of you, get elephantjournal.com/best. That's our magazine, online magazine. Thank you so much. And thank you to Kat, the editor. If you feel like it, give Kat a thank you. Kat has worked hard for all of you. And even though I'm hanging up now, you guys can keep talking and helping each other. You guys have just as much wisdom as myself or any of us. The Buddha himself or Jesus, well, I won't get into that, but the Buddha at least was human. So this is just basic human wisdom. Thank you so much. And thanks to Kat. Thank you so much. Alrighty.